So I recently started watching videos by another YouTuber by the name of Avery Talks About Stuff, where she, talks about stuff. But mainly movies from 20 plus years ago that fall into the categories of campy film and bad movies. But a question that I kept asking myself while watching her videos is, why do we love watching bad movies? Is it simply a feeling of superiority or schadenfreude, laughing at someone else's expense? And are there reasons why we should watch bad films over good films? That's coming up in this video. Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back. My name is Anton Wong, and on here I help you understand, unlock, and unleash the power of video. So if you haven't yet, be sure to hit subscribe. So to help me figure out why we like bad movies so much, I thought I would ask the person who spawned the very idea for this video. Avery, why do you think that we like watching bad movies?
Hey guys, so since starting my channel, I've watched a lot of bad movies. Like, a lot of really old, campy, usually terrible movies. But I love them. And so the question of why do we love campiness as a whole is really interesting to me. There's several different layers to that question. First of all, I definitely feel like when a movie can show its age a little bit, it gives it its own charm because it showcases the era in which it was made, which feeds into a lot of nostalgia for a lot of people. But I feel like movies that are campy and bad kind of land on a spectrum, right? You've got the movies that are trying so hard to be amazing and pretentious that they're unintentionally hilarious. And then you've got the movies that are made to be campy on purpose, and that kind of showcases the genius of that sense of humor. Your campiness lends itself very well to that dry, ironic sense of humor. But I definitely think that the most important ingredient to really enjoying a campy, bad B movie is the people that you watch it with. Because really, watching a bad movie is all about the experience. It's all about identifying as a group how silly something is and enjoying it as a group. And then from that moment on, that movie is like a thing that you guys have. It's like an experience that you've all lived through together. It's something that you can quote back to each other. It's like an inside joke. So I really feel like campy movies are most importantly it's like a team building exercise, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's where our love of campy movies comes from. Whether it's an older movie that gives you nostalgia or a movie that you found recently and watched with a group of really good friends, I've noticed that for me and for a lot of other people, the love of these movies kind of goes back to the people that we share them with. So often I want to cover a movie because it's something that I watched with my family as a kid, or something that I want to share with my friends now. And a lot of movies get recommended to me by other people for similar reasons. So yeah, I think that's what it comes down to, is the community aspect of it.
Yeah, I agree that it's the charm and quotability of a bad film that brings people together. My friends and I actually personally quote Tommy Wiseau's The Room to each other every time we meet. I definitely do think that just like how fans gather at Beyonce concerts or Star Trek conventions, these bad films bring people together. I also think that these films allow us to have a schadenfreude or enjoyment at someone else's expense. And while that might seem mean, most of the filmmakers come to terms with that and sort of embrace it. They sort of embrace the campiness and the bad filmness of it. The films almost all have some sort of charms that we all enjoy. Except for The Last Airbender movie, I have yet to find something good or redeeming about that film. So that's why we might like bad films, but is there anything we can learn from bad films? More specifically, are there things that filmmakers and video creators can learn by watching these bad films? Well, I think that we can learn lots. In my past videos, I have reacted to past work and how bad it seems compared to now. Of course, that was much more about seeing how much I have improved, but I think it can also be applied to other films that are considered bad. When you purposely watch a bad film or bad video, you can more easily spot things that you can't do as easily with a great film. If a film's technique is very effective, it would be invisible. You probably won't notice it, especially with things like audio. But if it's poorly executed, like bad audio, you can easily tell and easily pay attention to it. This is important for filmmakers and video creators alike because we sometimes forget all of the different aspects that go into making a good product, that something might fall by the wayside. However, when you watch other people make these mistakes, you can more effectively learn and ingrain in your mind not to make those same mistakes. You can learn why it didn't work and how to perhaps make it work. But what about you, Avery? What do you learn from bad films?
As a filmmaker, I have gotten such a good chunk of my education, I feel, from watching bad movies. Whether it be because once you've watched enough bad movies that are, mixed poorly, edited poorly, you start becoming very sensitive and very aware to those kind of mistakes and you don't make them again. There's so many tiny little things that just are shortcuts in movie making that you become really aware of when you've seen all of these kind of low budget movies. For example, there's this one sound effect, and I'll see if I can try to find it, of a door opening and closing. And it's used in everything from B movies to video games. It's just the same sound. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it. I'm so aware of it now, and it's just such a good example of how sensitive you become to just the teeniest little things when you start watching these bad movies over and over and over again from a technical side. It's always good to have an example of what not to do before you go and make that mistake yourself, whether it be a movie that has bad lighting or bad set deck or, just bad direction in general. The more you watch those bad movies and are able to identify for yourself what makes them bad in your eyes, the more you know what not to do as a creator. Because it's important to know what you want to make, but it's also important to know what mistakes to avoid, if that makes any sense. That's really what I think takes you from being a good creator to a great creator. I mean, I'm not a great creator, so if you get there, you tell me what it's like, but that's what I think it is being able to identify what you do and don't like and really just making things that you want to see exist in the world. Also, on a less technical side, I definitely feel like there is a level of commitment that can be learned from these kind of campy B movies, because as my old acting teacher once said, it's okay to be good, it's okay to be terrible, but it's never okay to just be okay, It's never okay to be mediocre. So bad it's good movies are just that. They're so bad, but they're so committed to being what they are that they kind of circle back around to being something really entertaining because there's that commitment, whether it's intentionally made to be goofy and over the top or it's just trying to be something that it's not and it's just really dedicated to that. As futile as the pursuit is, I feel like we as viewers can feel that earnestness, and that really makes a movie for me. And campy movies are just fun. They're a great reminder to not take yourself or anything too seriously. All right, I'll stop talking your ear off and send you back to Anton now. Thanks, Anton. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Avery. When we learn from other films, we can improve our own work, but also the work of others. Be sure to check out our channel and our collaboration there. I want to close by saying that I don't see myself as superior to these bad films. I know I'm using a lot of quotation marks. I think that anyone who takes the effort to make and release a creative project is already ahead of those who only think of doing so. And I actually think that that's the biggest lesson that we can learn from these films. Whether they are good or bad or just so-so, they were completed. That itself should be motivation for all of us to get out there and keep making things. So I implore you guys, keep making things. But hey, that's just my thoughts and my opinions. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Once again, thanks to Avery for being on this channel and being on this video. Be sure to check out the video I helped do on her channel. And yeah, if you like this video, be sure to hit like. But apart from that, I'll just have to see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.